Hello, good afternoon, everybody. In this episode, we will take a deeper look into the most memorable moments of Trooper Buchanek's testimony in the Karenread retrial. And we're going to be analyzing his demeanor and body language all at the same time. Trooper B testified, and he's still on the stand, by the way. Monday, court resumes tomorrow, and he's still testifying. He possibly created a big problem for his career as he chose to align himself with the disgraced, fired former Trooper Proctor, and he continued to testify as if we did this, we did all together. It's unfortunate that he got fired. And he came off being very arrogant, just like the last time, evasive, and even robotic. He would answer questions about the evidence collection and forensics like he's above all and any procedures. He came down as entitled and sometimes not even smart, which is surprising because he does have an amazing background, which we will go over. He quarreled with Alan Jackson, the defense attorney, on simple things like having a team leader in a team, creating and keeping an evidence log, being redundant, and that evidence kept presenting itself after days that the property was searched by the CERT team that is qualified to perform that search. Now, he told the jury that everybody in the office was told to keep driving by the house every day for this. Which investigation have we ever heard of where a crime happens, the police is there, everybody's there investigating, then all of a sudden, all the cops, they just keep driving there every day, every week, so that if evidence presents itself, they may be there to collect it. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. I am so glad you're here. And if you are one of our usual friends, welcome. You can support the channel by becoming a member. You can send a super chat. You can buy me a coffee. I'll put the logo here. And you can make a comment, like the video, subscribe, and help the algorithm to advertise the channel to more people. Now let's get started with Trooper B. I want to show you guys this slide that I've created. And this is going to talk a little bit about his background. He has a very respectful background. He was with the Marines. He has several security clearances, military, police, SWAT. He used to drive the presidential helicopter. And he only knows Trooper since 2019. So that's not a long time, but he's still coming in this testimony after everything that happened with Michael Proctor, and he is kind of aligning himself. So, hi, Corina. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. I have Whisper here with me. He's on my lap. So, happy Mother's Day to me as well. So, I want to get started with this little video. We're going to analyze his body language when he was asked about Chloe the dog that apparently was renamed as well as rehomed, which I didn't know she was renamed. That is new to me. So we're gonna let me upload this video real quick, video one, and
you're aware that the Alberts, Nicole Albert, Brian Albert.
So watch his lips, okay? So Jackson's gonna ask him about the dog, and he goes and he bites, like he goes like, at first it looks like he's just doing like a nervous laughter, but then you're gonna see his face do more wild stuff.
Had a dog that they named Chloe.
Rearranges himself in the seat, looks up to the right, big swallow. So let's go over here everything that just happened in Trooper B's face when he was asked about the dog, right? So number one, his face here on the top left side, it was his baseline. That's just his, his psycho face, his sociopathic face through the whole testimony. Number two, kind of nervous laughter, right? Number 3, again, the nervousness, but also he is bringing both lips up, kind of like biting up. And that could be nervousness and restraint. Um, let me see. The other one right after this is the one on the bottom where he's still doing the lip biting up thing, but then he's looking down to the right, which depending on the whole cluster, right? How many things he's doing with his face at the same time. And depending on the subject that they're talking about, it could indicate that he is creating an answer, fabricating an answer. So the eye movement is not a perfect science, but when we look at it as a cluster, then it makes more sense. So does this make sense in this scenario that he is nervous, biting his lips up, and then he's like looking down, trying to access that creative side of the brain to come up with whatever answer he's going to come up with. So then he goes to the, let me take myself out so you guys can see. There's little pictures on the bottom here, same thing. And then you have this one in the middle, his last one, his last facial expression, upside down lips, disapproval and anger. And you can see that he's serious again. So even though overall, if you do the screenshots here, it seems like he was like smiling. No, he is not happy about this answer. He's not happy about this question about the dog. He is showing disapproval, upside down lips. He is biting up, which is a sign of anger, restraint. He is trying to access an answer, and let's see how that progressed. Okay, so this is just what I just said, but a little bit more explained. So let me see if there's anything here that we can go over. So the nervous laughter, the first thing he did, right, also known as dysphoric laughter, is a body language cue where someone laughs even when nothing is funny as a way to manage stress, anxiety, or overwhelming emotions. It's a way to self-regulate and can be seen as a form of emotional equilibrium. So let me see if I can go back to the part where he did the little nervous laughter here. First thing he did when the question was posted.
You're aware that the Alberts,
There you go. It's so
Nicole
quick.
Albert, Brian Albert, had a dog that they named Chloe.
That's the nervous laughter right there. Then he bites and looks down to the right. So again, let's go back to the explanation. So biting or moving the mouth like biting the lip can indicate various things, including nervousness, restraint, or even a subconscious attempt to control impulses. Can be a sign of stress and anxiety or need to suppress emotions. So it's always important for us to look at the context. What are we talking about? What is the question being posed? Why is this person's face doing what they're doing? And what does it make sense? So in this case, he's uncomfortable about the question about the dog. He looks like he's hiding something. I mean, there are things I wasn't aware. I wasn't aware that the dog was renamed. I knew the dog was rehomed. I didn't know that Yuri Bukhenik had gone to meet the dog. I don't recall any of. I don't recall. I'm not testifying. I don't recall any of that happening in the last trial. But I can see that he is showing restraint. He's showing suppression in this. Again, number 4 here is what I said. Looking down to the right can be associated often with imagining or creating something potentially including fabricating a story or a lie. It can also indicate self-doubt or a question about one's feelings or the situation at hand. Um, and then you got he goes back to the upside down turned mouth, which can indicate anger, disapproval, or sadness, which is his usual face. His usual face is like upside down smile, right? So, hello, everybody. I want to say hello to Yuri's Webster Dictionary. If you can get me a dictionary, I will look it up the word. I'll look up the word theory and maybe I'll be able to help you guys. Maybe. Let's see. I can never say that. UFF da. Of da. Hi everyone. Hello. And Corinne is saying, who renames a dog after 7 years? I mean, Whisper is 5. And God, I don't even know who could rehome a dog. Who could rehome a dog, rename a dog, etc., etc. Let's keep going. That's his face. Look at his face. And then the blink rate goes through the roof. See? His eyes are like doing a circle. Okay. So then he's gonna, after this whole thing about the dog, he's going to do all this with his face. Then he's going to rearrange the posture on the seat. He was looking more like this, kind of like, I'm confident, whatever, I don't care, disengaged. And then when the question that is a delicate question comes, right, about the dog, he's like, let me make my posture straight, grip on my hands, show some confidence, and think of an answer here for this guy. So grabs both hands, and then he stares at the right upside now. And he is also, again, looking at this part, making this eye movement from our brain that is associated with imagining or constructing an answer rather than recalling a memory. Hi, Kelly Cal. Good to see you here in the chat. He's very bad at lying. Yeah, because our face is really it's really hard to hide our face. It's really hard. My face is the worst. My sister always told me, you can't lie. Like, you don't know how to lie. It's really bad because I'll start laughing. I'm not confident at all. I'll be like, you will know that I'm lying. And some people think like Sergeant Yuri Bukhenik. His name is not Buchanick, by the way. It's Buchanick. I love that Alan Jackson calls him both. Sometimes he calls him Buchanick. Sometimes he calls him Buchanick. But he thinks he's great. He thinks he is the best officer that has ever existed. And he does have an impressive background. But when you are as entitled and arrogant as this guy is, everything goes downhill because people, we normal people that are sitting in the jury, we like people who are like ourselves. We like to identify with people. We like humility, compassion. That those are things, traits that we see in others that we admire and we absorb, and we without acknowledging it, we're like, oh, let me hear what she has to say. This person seems really sad about his friend John O'Keefe dying. Let me hear what he has to say. When somebody comes with this attitude, like, I don't need to explain anything, I do what I do, whatever, why are you asking me questions, why am I here, I'm the best, like, people have immediate association to that, and they're probably going to think this guy's a dick, and I'm not going to hear him, I'm not going to listen, I'm not going to believe him, which is interesting in terms of demeanor, because sometimes the person could be arrogant and be telling the truth, but it doesn't come off well to people. JP Palm, good to see you here. Okay, so let's keep going.
On on January 28th,
They continue the
29th
questions here.
of 2022, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow the question. Were you aware of that?
At what point in time, sir?
January 28th, 29th, that area.
Me too, Kelly.
Was I aware that they owned a dog on January 28th or 29th?
No. Are you aware now that on January 28th or 29th, they owned a dog? There was a dog in the house.
Now I am aware, yes.
Okay. During the course of your investigation, you learned that, correct?
Yes.
During the course of your investigation, did you also become aware that the Alberts got rid of their family dog?
Objection.
I'm going to
What's
see you at
the-
sidebar on this, please.
Sure.
What's the objection? Got rid of it? I don't understand. Hi, Mary. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. And if you guys just got here, don't forget to do the YouTube things to help with the algorithm. Please like, subscribe, share, comments, help me. And happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. If you're not a mother, happy Mother's Day to all the furry mothers, the plant mothers, the friends, the people who help others, and to all your mothers as well. As you guys know, my mother is in heaven, so to me, it's a happy Mother's Day to her. And also today I was able to give some ladies that I know like a rose, and they were very happy. And that's another way that I cope with grief and with losing my mother. I try to think of doing something for somebody else that may be having a tough time, because thankfully things get a little bit better as time goes on and you're able to learn how to deal with grief. So let's keep going here to the second little video I clipped to look at his body language when he was asked. Let me see. When he was asked about the reports, how long it takes to write the reports, what is the best way, how long should you take? Are you aware? He is the supervisor. He's the supervisor on this case, and he has no idea that some reports took a year, 2 years to be written, and he thinks there's nothing wrong with that. We were doing a fantastic job, and this is what I call arrogance and entitlement, right? He doesn't say, "Listen, we messed up on that. We should have written reports way faster." No, he has an answer for everything. And that is a form of gaslighting and maybe even a trait of narcissism. I will talk about a little bit narcissism later, because it's the inability, right? The ego is so big. The person thinks so highly of themselves that they're unable to admit any types of mistakes. So let's take a look at his demeanor when he's questioned about the reports.
Sometimes investigations are rapid, so you can't write a report. You take notes, and some time goes by before you actually document the information on an official report. The information's there, it's gathered, it's maintained by the investigator, it's shared, it's acted on at times, but the official reports might take some time to write.
So obviously, if you're, like you said, things are fast moving in an investigation. It might be that you interview a witness on a Tuesday, you're super busy on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It might be Friday before you can even sit down and draft a report about that interview that you did on Tuesday, correct?
Different circumstances dictate differently.
That would be completely normal.
Okay, let me take a pause here because a lot did happen, okay? I will say that the beginning was kind of like a word salad. Word salad is when somebody, usually a narcissist person, is giving you all words, but they don't make sense, okay? He is explaining with his hands, and he shows confidence while doing this. This is how it works. The reports are written, and then after this time, we do this, and da 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 da. He's explaining, he is illustrating with his hands, he's showing confidence. But he's being asked about some reports that he understands that were not properly done. Some of them took a year, 2 years, 3 years. I don't know how long to be written. So he is in the wrong. And the fact that he just uses like a bunch of words to fill in the gap and like he's in the right is a form of gaslighting, like making the other person think they're the crazy ones for even asking you. And then after that, he comes to this all of these little clusters when AJ
things are fast moving.
When AJ is saying, sure, we understand when somebody is in an investigation, everything's going fast. Maybe it'll take you like a day, 2, 3, 4. But he understands that that's not what Alan Jackson's referring to, because he understands that his team took way longer than it would ever be acceptable to create these reports, to create this documentation. So then his body language starts to show stressors. He takes a deep breath, he swallows, he changes himself in the chair. He's kind of like trying to get away, because when we are in a position that we can't get out, our body will leak in all different kinds of ways. We're going to touch our faces, we're going to touch our body, move our posture. He raises his eyebrows, drinks his waters, closes this, and then he looks up again and to the right, keeps thinking, imagining, what can I say? Possibly fabricating something, because it is, again, that side of the brain. And then he's going to give Alan an answer, kind of like moving away from the microphone and putting his water down. Disengaging and condescending, kind of like disrespectful, right? Not even looking, and he's going to go
an investigation
away
from
the microphone.
You interview a witness on a Tuesday, you're super busy on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It might be Friday before you can even sit down and draft a report about that.
His attitude while
on Tuesday, correct?
Different circumstances dictate differently.
That would be
So different circumstances dictate different, and then he doesn't even say anything else. And then lip uh pursing, lip compression, something is wrong. So his lips are saying the right thing, but his brain understands that he's not doing the right thing. So his body is showing that. So here's the entitlement, Well, yeah, we took 3 years to write a report, but who cares? I don't need to answer to anybody. I am TrooperB. I don't need to answer to anybody. Why are you even asking me questions? I'll take however long I want to write reports if I want to write them, if I have the time. That is his attitude. Now, there is no line of profession where that attitude is acceptable. I am a real estate broker. Everything I do is documented. I document everything, every communication with my clients. I tell them, listen, I've been requested to go show your house. Here is the email so you can see the time. And then, oh, they canceled. Here's the cancellation so you can see that they canceled. Everything I do is documented. After a while, the person starts to trust you and you can just say things and people will trust you more, right? But with any type of profession, you need to have ethics and integrity, which he thinks he does because he's going to say he does. But what does that mean? It means that you do the right thing. You're trustworthy. You know right and wrong. You know what the moral thing to do is. And it is not the right thing to have any type of profession where you can't document what you're doing to a supervisor, to a manager, to a client, whoever it is. We're in a professional way. We're always working for somebody. Even if you're self-employed, you work for your clients. So I have to keep documentation because if they want to sit down and say, can you show me where this, I had a client one time say that she thought the dresser was going to come in the house. And once the seller moved and they took the dresser, she was like, no, I'm sure it was going to, I'll send you the pictures. I said, no, that's not how it works. Let me show you in the contract and the addendum, all personal property can be removed unless it's written here. So you have the right expectation. But he doesn't have that. He doesn't have that ethic inside of him. He thinks that because of his position, because of his past, or who he is, or whatever he thinks of himself, he is entitled to say, yeah, well, different circumstances present different things, and that's all I'm going to say. He doesn't even answer the whole question. Let's go back a little bit and see.
Different circumstances dictate differently.
That would be completely normal.
Yes, it is.
But most of the time, it's best practices, and you're taught, and you teach your subordinates that it's best practices to reduce to writing and memorialize a report.
That's the aggression on him, right? The lip compression and turning the chin up, moving your head around.
That it's best practices to reduce to writing and memorialize a report as close in time to the event in question that's being memorialized as you can, right? Obviously. Perfect world.
In the perfect world, we'd write it as it's happening.
Okay, so before I go over this here, let me just say hi to everybody who's in the chat. I am so glad to see some names that I already know. Like I said in the beginning, if you're new, welcome. And if you are one of our friends already, and even a member, we have memberships now, welcome back. So I saw Otto. Where's Otto? Otto. Hi, Bianca. Yes, he should be fired. I agree. I think that they should definitely use his testimony to take a second look at him because this is unacceptable, especially if he is getting paid with the taxpayers' money. It's unacceptable that somebody has this type of attitude towards any type of profession. This is Surf SRW. Actors acting under color of law, color of authority for their corporate masters across the pond, Atlantic. Otto is talking to Karina. Karina, I really don't believe that Chloe's alive. Oh, don't say that, guys, please. All dogs must be doing well. All dogs must be doing well. We're all mad here. Good to see you. Yay, I made it. I'm so glad you are here. Kelly Cow, imagine dating him. Bah, awful. First of all, I know it's not politically correct to talk about people's appearances, but he doesn't have any lips. Somebody robbed his lips. Somebody took them, and that would be awkward. Love the hat. Go, Bruce. Do you guys see what I'm wearing? Stop self snitching. I can't believe I just got this yesterday. I'm so excited because I love Bruce Rivers. If you have never watched Bruce Rivers, he's an attorney that does YouTube videos and he is very funny. Even though sometimes he's not even trying to be, he's great. Don't self snitch. I think that it's very appropriate for this trial since, you have the right to remain silent. um, what was that, Mr. Mumbles? Otto says, I can't believe 581 days for reports. They should all be fired. Yeah, and this guy lost what, 5 days of vacation? Mm-mm-mm. He's like, yeah, we do bad investigations all the time. No big deal. No big deal. That's just how we do it. He does when investigating Roboducks, though. Yeah. Oh, Ask Bob is here. Good afternoon, my friend. It's great to see you. Look who's here with me today. He's here. He's here. Hi, everybody. I'm Whisper. Hi. 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 Oh. Bianca Miss Universe turned 25. Silly. Yeah, Ask Bob is so silly. So silly. Karina, you're not wrong. And then I think he's married. He's wearing a wedding band. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that for his. He just lost his son. Oh, that's so sad. That's so sad. That's so sad. Thank you so much, Otto. Oh, that is so sad. His son Michael lost his life early this year. That is very sad. That is very sad. So let's go to this slide here real quick because he's going to be questioned about these reports regarding questioning Dentano, who is one of the people that were there at the property where Mr. O'Keefe's body was found and saw the SUV. He witnessed the SUV right during the time that she supposedly hit him. So that guy was not interviewed within a decent period of time. I think it took like a year or something. Let me see. Dentano. We'll look in this slide. But anyway, so this slide here is Fairview, 34 Fairview. When Ryan Eagle testified, the Ryan Eagle was in this truck, right? He was not driving. His friend Dentano was driving. They said it was around 12:45, but Bruce lost his son. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about Trooper B, so I'm going to stop here real quick. Yes, I am aware that Bruce lost his son. I watch all of his videos. So I used to watch when his son um did the creation and helped him in the studio, and I always thought it's so admirable to have this relationship that they have, Bruce and his son, because Bruce was always cheering for his son, always encouraging him. I forget what he calls him. Did he call him like the best? You guys will probably tell me in the chat. He calls his son like a very, very caring name every time. Wow, a civil law. Wow, this is like an honor. This is a big YouTuber right here watching our humble channel. Great to see you. Good to see you so much. So yeah, and Bruce lost his son, and it was beautiful to see the relationships that they had. And he did lose his son to addiction, and he's very open about it, which I think is fantastic because there is a lot. Content genius, that's what he called his son. Yes, there's a lot of help out there. Okay, there's a lot of help, and recovery does work for those who want it to work. So anyways, going back to this slide here with 34 Fairview. So Ryan Eagle's in the back on in this truck. And the SUV is right there in front of them. So we have Dentano driving this truck, Ryan Eagle here sitting in the driver's seat. I'm sorry, the passenger seat. Karenread SUV supposedly is there right in front of them. The SUV moves a little bit forward towards the flagpole. And then what happens? What happens? Because we don't know, because Trooper B took how long? How long did Trooper B take to interview the driver of the truck, the guy that is supposedly not drunk? Because Ryan Eagle had some beers, he said. Nothing wrong with that. But okay, so here is Dentano, is the guy in the middle here. So here's his ex-girlfriend, Heather Maxon. Okay, so Heather Maxon testified like this. This is last year's testimony though. She did not see any damage to the vehicle or anyone exiting it and going to the house. Said the vehicle was running because interior and exterior lights were on and didn't see moving again before they departed. Noticed a male and female in the SUV, female driving, male in passenger seats. So that's what she saw. Dentano, Richard, he did not see anyone get out of the vehicle that all three previous witnesses, Ryan, Heather, and him, I think, had described. And he spoke to the feds in May of 2023 and then state police a month later in September 2023. But John O'Keefe passed away. I can't read my own slide. I think it's February 2022. Let me play here. January 2022. So they took from January 2022 all the way through September 2023 to interview the one witness that was driving a truck and was parked right behind the SUV at the scene where the body was found. Why? Why? Because Jennifer McCabe told them everything they needed to know. That's the attitude that the troopers are taking. This I found it on Twitter and I thought it was fantastic. Very, very interesting illustration. Of course, this is not a real picture, but this is like 47 pieces of taillights being found because the trooper is testifying that evidence just keeps presenting itself. That all the troopers just guys, there was a crime. So what we're going to do is we're going to drive every day by the house every day. And if evidence presents itself, if evidence is like, hey, I'm talking to you, I'm evidence, then we're going to collect it because we don't collect evidence at the scene with the appropriate team that is qualified to do that. Forensics, CSI, none of that. We're just going to keep driving during our breakfast time, having our coffee. And if we see 47 pieces of taillight like this, that's when we're going to stop. So let's continue with the trooper here.
Are you aware that more than 20 official police reports in this case were not recorded for more than 100 days?
Yeah, I had to clip this because I don't know if he's being possessed here or what is happening, but he just rolls his eyes and that's how it looks.
From the time that the event in question was done, was being memorialized?
I did not know the exact date and delay.
Are you aware that there are 11 reports that are more than 300 days from the time of the event that was being memorialized?
I was not aware, no.
Are you aware that there are 3 reports that are more than 400 days from the time of the event that was being memorialized?
I am not aware, no.
Are you aware that there are 4 reports that are more than 500 days from the time of the event that's being memorialized?
I am not aware, no.
Are you aware that the longest delay of any report in this investigation was 581 days?
I am not aware of that, no.
No, he's not aware of anything. And Uncivil Law just said that he smacks his lips before he says everything. It drives me nuts. And I had not noticed that. So thank you for that, because now I will notice that every freaking second.
You became aware early on in your investigation of 2 individuals named Ricky Dentano and Heather Maxon, correct?
They are witnesses, yes.
Both Ricky Dentano and Heather Maxon, you learned, were outside 34 Fairview in the early morning hours of January 29th, correct?
We did learn within our investigation at some point, yes.
So now he's getting a little irritated. Okay, let me read this. Let me just pause here real quick and see. Okay, so yeah, in this little piece of interaction, he's going to do all this in his face. He's going to do all these things. He does a chin shot, which is the, sign of aggression. You want to fight. You want to fight. He does the biting his lips, which is something that he does a lot. But we have to differentiate between the baseline, which is what the person normally does, like his upside down lips. That's what he usually does. But the biting up is a sign of aggression when he does it, because you see the subject is irritating him and he doesn't do it all the time. Then he really quick does a tongue jot, which is usually I got caught, or I got away with something. And then he swallows, he shows stress, rapid blink rates, and then bad taste in the mouth at the end here with the one that we just paused on the left. That is like a lemon face, sign of disapproval. I don't like what's being said. This is just like a fast forward of all of it, so you guys can see what his face is doing just while Alan is asking.
And you learned, Sergeant, very early on in that investigation, because you interviewed Ryan
happens
Nagel
really fast.
in February of 2022. It's just days after the event, correct?
I'm not sure of the exact date.
Obviously, as you just said, you became aware that Ricky D'Antonio and Heather Maxson were witnesses in your homicide investigation, important witnesses, you'd agree, correct?
They were witnesses.
Probably as
You
well.
learned that they arrived at the house at 34 Fairview sometime after
Adapter, just into
Karen
my
Read
face.
and John O'Keefe arrived and pulled up behind their parked SUV, correct?
Objection.
I'm going to allow that.
Can you repeat that, please?
Sure, you learned that
He's looking
where
up,
they
like
fit
rolling
into
his
the
eyes, like, can you repeat that? Like, why am I here? He's just so entitled. He should be looked at.
investigative puzzle is that they pulled up behind Karen Read's SUV when Karen Read and John O'Keefe arrived at 34 Fairview. They pulled up sometime after that and pulled up right behind them, correct?
That's not correct.
What is not correct about that?
They arrived simultaneously. Karen Read took a right onto Fairview. They yielded to them and followed towards 34 Fairview, stopping at the driveway as Karen Read proceeded further up.
Did you listen to the testimony in this case up to this point?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry, guys, at the end over there. I was recording something and then I just recorded myself recording something. But anyways, so yeah, that was the beginning. Just two clips that I made that I wanted to show you guys a few things that he does with his face. And now what I want to do is go through the most memorable parts of his testimony, which is a lot. He's still testifying. He still understands. Let's not forget that. Let me see. Daily Quick Bites said that's not an actual representation of how the pieces were found. However, the way the pieces were found defies physics. Yeah, I know. I think I said that, right? That's not a real picture. I think I said that. Hold on. Let me go back to through this slide real quick. So I think we did talk about his background, right? His background, very, very impressive, respectful, Marine, security clearances, military SWAT, presidential helicopter, not a super trooper, homicide detective, and nose practice since 2019. Then I did the video 1 for you guys and the video 2. What I want to show you is, hold on, after this real quick. Okay, so this is a few of his facial expressions, which he does it very quickly, so it's hard to even sometimes catch it. But he'll have like a natural smile, real smile here in the bottom right. Then the faces that he does on top, like he will do eyebrow raise, feeling skeptical, a little bit of contempt, with the side smile here, and then his stare also at the attorney here. The tongue jot we talked about when the person has the tongue out, so like I got caught, got away with something. He does a lot of the hand wriggling, showing stress or concern. Here is a slide I had made about the evidence presenting itself. He instructed the officers to keep driving by Fairview every day to see if new evidence would present itself, which is something I had never heard before. Another phrase that he says is, we do the best we can to document all known information. And here are some of the pieces of evidence that were found at the property afterwards, not when the search team was there. So we got a shoe, we got a hat, and then we got 47 pieces of taillight, we got a straw, we got a piece of glass, and all kinds of things. So here are some of the pictures of the um, evidence that kept presenting themselves and when, right? And they're going to talk to him about the logs and the lack of documentation in this case, which is very concerning. So we have here February 3rd, February 4th, February 8th, 10, and 11. So these are officers that are driving by this crime scene every single day. They don't have a search. They had the CERT, C-E-R-T team go there and do the search, a grid search. They're very methodical about the way they search. But these searches are random searches and they have no documentation for it. It's like, we have this thing in a bag and it says 34 Fairview. That's our documentation. And it just kept happening. So these are some of the pieces of evidence. You got the shoe here on the top middle, got some pieces of tail lights, etc., etc. Then let me see. Again, some of his faces, we do the best we can to document all information. He does a lot of this lip compression. The disappearing lips well, he already doesn't have lips, but if he did have lips, it would be like, lip compression. Something is wrong. He does the biting and lip pursing, which is like sign of disagreement. His biting, chewing, a lot of it could be stress and nervousness, but depending on what else his face is doing, could be a sign of aggression. So when he goes like he does a facial movements with the biting, it's being aggressive towards the attorney. The tongue jut again here in the bottom is very hard to see because it happens very fast on him, and his lips are very difficult to notice sometimes. So that's why I have all these little screenshots so you guys can see the moments where, for example, here on the top left, he has the upside down lips, disagreements. Here in the middle, he is doing the little pursing, kind of like a kiss, a pursing, disagreement again. Then he's doing the biting here on the third, closing eyes. Another thing that happens a lot, delaying opening the eyelids upon hearing information, is usually negative emotions or displeasure. So the touch, face touching, could be simply that it itches, but a lot of times it's stress, because like we talk about here all the time, when you are in a situation like in a trial and you're testifying, it's a situation that is stressful in nature. So your body language will show a lot of stress, and that is normal for anybody. It doesn't mean that the person is lying. Stress is stress. Everybody goes through it. So when you are doing things that are pronounced, like you're touching your shirt, you're touching your face, you're touching your head, but it's over and over when the question is being very stressful to you, then we can say, okay, maybe this question is bothering this person. Maybe they're trying to lie. Maybe there is some deception here. So another thing I wanted to show you guys is these videos of the Sally Port have not yet been introduced with him. We had a lot of anomalies last time when this was introduced through this witness. So we are going to talk about that later because he's still on the stand. He's still on the stand, and we still have a lot to go through with him. So again, let's take a look from the beginning in the most memorable TrooperB moments. Here is a little clip on the direct examination where he's going to talk about not making any types of predetermination, but we do know that he did call the ME. We know that he called the ME, and we know that they had asked the ME to rule the death as a homicide. I don't know exactly how they asked the ME. That has not yet been introduced in this trial, but we do know that there was some type of conversation, because when the ME testified last year, she said she was unable to rule it a homicide and she had to write it as undetermined. So let's see how he talks about this phone call.
Was a shooting reported and there's a deceased person at the scene. So yes, we will know that it's most likely a homicide, but we don't make a preconceived notion or determination before we get there.
You said there are a number of cases that go through your office. Do you work investigations by yourself?
Never, no.
Are investigations assigned to the group as a whole, or is a particular trooper in the unit?
We have case officers, and the assignment of the responsibility when you will most likely be a case officer is scheduled a month or so in advance. So each trooper has a responsibility of a 24-hour period that they are on call. They respond to the scenes, whether it be a train strike versus pedestrian, or a vehicle, or a suicide by hanging. They respond, and then if they need assistance or they think that there's something more, additional resources are called out, like crime scene services, which helps us document scenes, etc.
Have you ever been assigned a homicide or a homicide investigation?
Yes.
In the cases where you're assigned, do you investigate the case alone?
Never. It's always a team effort. Every case requires a team effort. Just the amount of work that goes into collecting evidence, interviewing witnesses, interviewing involved parties, interviewing the suspect, all those tasks that are required in collecting surveillance footage require manpower and time and resources. And so every investigation, although it has a case officer, it requires a team effort of individuals to work together in concert to accomplish a successful investigation.
But his team does not have a leader, right, guys? Remember, his team does not have a leader. Glenn Lake, I don't think he's talking to you. So I would love that on civil law. That would be awesome. Do you want to come up on the channel one day and collab anytime? Pretty much anytime. So on civil law says that, and Glenn is like, thanks, but I got a really busy week. Glenn Lake, it's always good to see you here. I love all your sense of humor. It's great. So anyways, thank you so much, Civil. That would be awesome. Sure. Sheila says, I didn't see the first trial. Is the call different for his first trial? So I say that, okay, let me see the daily here. They tried to get the Emmy to play ball. Emmy wasn't having it, something with the young black gentleman who testified. The BAC extrapolation wasn't, okay. Okay, so what I recall, which if you didn't see, Sheila, if you didn't watch the first trial, I think it's best that you just go with the information that they're giving during this trial, which is what I should be doing too, right? But I can't ignore the things that I remember from the last trial. So what I understand is that usually the troopers, the investigators, the leader investigators are supposed to go to the autopsy, all of that, and none of that happened. They sent somebody who had no experience in the force, who was a new officer, to go to the autopsy. And then I think Trooper Proctor or TrooperB called the ME to say, listen, the victim was hit by a glass. We believe it was a homicide or something to that effect. And the ME was like, oh, I'm gonna make my examination and then I'll let you guys know. And once she said, I cannot rule this as a homicide, that created a little bit of people talking about it. So I'm not sure, but I just wanted to show you guys this clip because when the ME does come and testify, that is going to be brought up probably. So next clip I want to show you is when everybody was shocked because it's when he referenced Trooper Proctor for the first time. Let's see.
Dangerous line of work, and people could lose their life. People could get injured, or unfortunately, people could get fired or retire and no longer be available to testify, provide their testimony, or be a resource in the future.
Unfortunately, look at the tongue jut. We paused right at the tongue jut. I got away with something. So he is not ashamed. He's not embarrassed. Actually, he believes it's unfortunate that Trooper Proctor might not be able to collaborate in the future, to be a resource in the future. That is what he thinks of Trooper Proctor. And I think this is a terrible move on Trooper Buchanek's part, because the guy is disgraced. Trooper Proctor, he took it for the whole team. He took it for the whole Canton Police Department, for everybody that is in trouble over there. He was the scapegoat. Now, he comes in, Trooper B testifies, and in the beginning of his testimony, he says, unfortunately, people can get fired and no longer be a resource and no longer be able to testify. So he's telling us here, Trooper Proctor is not testifying. Well, that's what he's saying. We don't know that for sure.
Is it a common practice that when there's an investigation, more than one trooper will appear at many events?
It is very common and preferred. Unfortunately, in the real world, it's not always possible. A trooper can be responding to a scene and just to simply grab something from another trooper and could be approached and a small brief interview could happen, or if a trooper's at a home talking to a witness and others show up and willing to provide information, he has to conduct that.
So notice how he's saying we could be conducting an interview and others could show up. So he's here providing an excuse for Brian Albert showing up during Jennifer McCabe's interview, which for the jury, okay, this is direct examination. He is looking at the jury. He seems to be very comfortable. He seems to be very straightforward, giving information. And I don't think the jury suspects anything nefarious at all. They're just listening to him, but listen to his answer. We know why he's saying that. Somebody could show up at somebody's house when somebody's being interviewed. So who is he referring to in this case? He's constantly trying to explain the mistakes that were made in this case. He's constantly inserting explanations there because he knows they are mistakes, but he's unable to say, we made a mistake here. Another thing we're going to watch here is when he's talking about
Michael Proctor was the
the
lead
leadership
investigator, as
role.
well as the case agent in charge of this case.
He was assigned as the case officer for the case.
In that position, given the
Not
fact
leader,
that it was
case
his
officer.
assignment, would you agree with me that he had a leadership role insofar as the investigation of the case was concerned?
I wouldn't call it a leadership role. It's more of a facilitator, liaison
Look at
between
Alan's
the
face.
DA's
Give me your bullshit now,
personnel
sir.
within the office and the state police. He also
I
helped.
think Alan's face is like, what? What is the bullshit that is going to come out of your mouth right now? What? You don't believe? What? He's just like, okay, please tell me, sir.
Facilitate any missions, outstanding tasks that need to be completed.
He obviously had a supervisor, correct?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
He obviously had a supervisor, correct?
He did, yes, that would be myself.
That would be you.
Yes.
Every case has some lead trooper
Hi, Karen. Hi,
in your
Leslie.
unit, correct? Every case is assigned to someone to sort of be in charge and lead the charge of the investigation. Is that right?
Every case has a case officer that manages the investigation.
Right. And managing the investigation doesn't mean just, sort of typing up schedules. It means actually managing the investigation, like deciding what search warrants are going to be written in certain circumstances. That's one example, correct?
They're responsible for writing and authoring those search warrants. Sometimes the recommendation, suggestion, or leadership comes from the supervisors or the DA staff, where their experience might dictate otherwise.
And sometimes it comes from the lead case agent himself or herself, correct?
At times, yes.
Every team, even back when you were in the military, you were on many, many teams in the Marine Corps, correct?
I'm sorry, you were speaking, facing away from me. I couldn't hear you.
Every team, including back in the time you were in the military, back in the time you were in the Marine Corps, every team has multiple individuals involved in that team, correct? That's the whole point of a team, multiple people, correct?
I would agree with you that a team consists of more than one person.
And it has to
Okay,
be.
so this is really bad, right? Demeanors in speaking about human behavior, demeanor, just really bad. This is where it starts becoming really bad for him because he can't answer a simple question. And that is very noticeable to anybody. People that have no, they don't know anything about behavior, about demeanor. You can just feel. It's like I always say, you don't have to understand body language or facial expressions to know how you feel after you interact with somebody. It's like, oh, I feel like this person is genuine. Oh, I feel like there's something about this person. I have a gut feeling. And that is what I feel about him right here, right now, because this is such a simple question. Do you know? Can you agree that usually in a team there's a leader? Oh, well, I agree that team have different people. I agree that team has several people, but not every team has a leader. Sir, you were in the Marines. You are a supervisor. What is the problem with this question for you? Let's just listen a little bit more of this.
Some sort of echelon of leadership on that team, correct? Everybody's not just an equal, co-equal, correct?
We might have different duties, responsibilities, but some teams have equal rank. Yeah.
But there's going to be a team leader, right? That's
Yeah.
a military phrase, team leader.
Anywhere.
Yes, there is a team leader in the Marine Corps, in the rifle platoon, but not every team has a leader.
And look at the arrogance. And this is the face of a narcissist, if I've ever seen one, because he's clueless. He thinks he's doing a great job. And that comes from the ego, the inability to see how you portraying yourself like this may not be going well for you. He cannot read the room. He cannot read what he's like. He cannot have another person's perspective. He's just like smirking and saying, well, no, not every team has a leader. I've seen teams without a leader. I can't think of a team type structure, a business that doesn't have leadership, but let's see. We'll see. I wanted to stop real quick to say hi to a new friend of ours here, Daily Quick Bites. This Bianca, I forgot to say hello. This is my first time in your fine establishment. Pleasure to meeting you. Pleasure to meeting you. Pleasure meeting you. And thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. It gives me so much more drive when you guys are here in the chat because it gets lonely when I'm making videos all by myself. And it makes me want to do more. So I really appreciate you guys being here. Mary, it was interesting to read how you talked about ARCA earlier, how they test safety equipment for sports like hockey, etc. too. Glenn, take us to your facilitator. We're all mad here. Did everyone hit the like? That would be awesome. I think this is a record. We have 70 people in the chat, and I am so excited because this is like the most we've gotten, I think, unless Karina will correct me. Sharply opinionated. Yuri knows. Where did it go? These are going fast. I lost the comment. This is the first time. Okay, I'll go back to it. Otto says, I can't believe he refuses to say that Proctor was the lead investigator. I loved when he made him read all the reports with Proctor's name on it. And still he wouldn't say. He's like, well, there's so many reports. I don't know. Yeah, these are Proctor, but I don't know. Every team does have a leader. Liar, liar, liar. Right, Karina? Yay, Karina is the best. It's like my right hand player, my right hand team player here. Not that we have leaders. Okay, so next video.
I would have to pick up the slack. I'm a team player. I always want to assist in any which way I can to make others' life easier.
And
I just wanted to play that because again, this is how he's gonna give himself a lot of compliments, and that's fine. He's a team player. He always wants to help pick up the slack when we need. Anytime people need him, he's there. So remember, guys, these are just the most memorable moments, in my opinion. I rewatched everything. So like to get the clips that were memorable for me. So another one.
Certain pungent scenes, we were tasting it.
Ew. That's when he said he was looking at the evidence, sniffing the evidence, and tasting the evidence. And then the evidence is speaking to him as well. So lots going on with the evidence.
That's the reality of us breathing in the the scene when we're living it through the investigation.
Do you wear any type of protection?
Thank you,
Absolutely.
Lucinda.
We wear
Love you guys.
gloves. At times, we wear other PPE, personal protective equipment.
When you looked at Mr. O'Keefe's clothes, you said that you bagged them. Did anything stand out in particular about his set of clothing?
In particular, we were missing a sneaker of his. That was very significant to me. It caused me to have Michael Proctor contact the paramedics that transported Mr. O'Keefe to the hospital and confirm with them, conduct a secondary check that that sneaker was not left behind in the ambulance.
Notice
Why
when he
was-
said a sneaker was missing and it was very important to me, he has like a nervous laughter. I don't know what's the story with the sneaker. I know people are saying it's not the same sneaker. One has a black sole, one has a white sole. But it is very strange that the team, the CERT, C-E-R-T, the team that had searched the area methodically, they do it in a grid, like let's walk this line, let's walk that line. It's kind of like when I'm at the dog park and my dog poops. That's how I search. I'm like, let me walk this line until I find it. So I can see everything. So I can see the whole area. So I don't miss anything. And a whole sneaker was there, like a male sneaker. And apparently they couldn't find it. So I don't know. So, okay, I wanted to show you guys this when he said we tasted the crime scene. And then let's see about some of the cross when he's going to talk about how well he conducts investigation.
Always want to gather as much evidence as possible. We conduct that gathering in the most appropriate ways possible. Sometimes
So the gathering of evidence occurs in the most appropriate way possible. In the most appropriate way possible, notice the choice of words. This is the worst possible way you could have collected evidence, but you think, your ego tells yourself that it was the most appropriate way possible, that there is no other possible way. There are no gloves, there is no evidence bag, there are no logs, none of that stuff the forensic professionals do every single day to ensure that people are being prosecuted and they have the evidence being properly collected and kept. None of that matters because here we have TrooperB saying we do it the most appropriate way.
there are tough decisions that have to be made where we have to either decide whether we're collecting evidence A or evidence B. And those decisions have to be made on the spot. At times it's a time-sensitive matter. At times it's a decision made by a group putting their heads together and deciding on that. So I don't know if that answers your question, but
Not really.
that's the most
Let's try it
Let's try it
again.
again.
accurate explanation.
Okay.
Again.
I am.
That is the most accurate explanation. So his choices of words are an example to us of how highly he thinks of himself. That's why I have some traits of narcissism popping up all the time in my head, because that's the most accurate answer that one could give, because it's coming from me and I'm the best in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try that again. You want to make sure that the evidence, as a supervisor, supervising your subordinates, you want to make sure that the evidence is gathered in an appropriate way, in an objective way, correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. You're also doing everything you can as a supervisor and someone with the experience to make sure that the highest levels of integrity and those demands are met in any investigation that you work on.
If there was a question of integrity, those individuals would not be part of an investigation.
That includes knowing,
I have to look
obviously,
at that.
what your subordinates are doing.
During the conduct of the investigation, during the process of us investigating a crime, yes, we know what is going on, because every bit of information that comes in needs to be shared, and we need to make sure the whole team is aware of all the evidence and information that is available to us at the time.
you want to make sure that, I'm going to use a colloquial phrase, you keep tabs on those who are reporting to you, correct?
I don't know what that
doing?
means.
What are they engaged in? When are they coming and going? Who are they interviewing? Things of that nature. Basic investigative things, correct?
For the most part, you can't track every single person
Of course
all the
not.
time, but this is a very serious line of work. A lot depends on it. We speak for those that can no longer speak for themselves. So we do our best to conduct every investigation with integrity, honor, and get to the truth.
Amazing, amazing, amazing poker face here. Amazing poker face. We speak for those who can no longer speak for themselves, and we do our best, okay? His best is looking at Michael Proctor's text message saying, was it the nudes one? No, I'm looking the retarded person's phone. And you know what this guy did? He liked it. He liked the comments. He thought it was funny. He engaged with it. He didn't say, are you insane? Are you out of your mind? You're more subordinate. You're not supposed to speak like this. No, he liked it. And he comes here and he says that he does everything with honor and integrity because he's speaking for those who can no longer speak for themselves.
If you don't properly supervise, and I'm talking about your role now as a supervisor, if you don't properly engage in that supervision, it obviously increases chances for mistakes. It increases chances for bias to seep in. It increases chances that something could affect the adequacy of the investigation, correct?
That's a lot there. Can you repeat that, please? Maybe one section at a time?
Sure. If you don't properly supervise your subordinates in an investigation, failing to properly supervise them could increase the chances that mistakes are made. Isn't that right? That's why you supervise.
That is one possibility.
Okay. Let's break it down. It also increases chances that there could be inherent biases that are seeping into the case that you want to make sure doesn't happen, correct?
I believe that human beings all have biases, but during the investigation, those biases do not affect, especially in this case, they did not affect any outcome of the investigation.
So I wouldn't even talk.
Okay, so let me check. For example, what was the lead investigator talking to you
August
about?
17th, 2022, 9:44 p.m., 25 seconds. Funny, I am going through his retarded client's phone.
I'd like you to read all of them, please.
He's like, can I stop?
No nudes so far. I hate that man. I truly hate him.
Talking about Alan Jackson.
Hey, can you give the author for each comment? And can you start again because I want us to understand.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
The author, whoever makes the comment, I'd like to have
Can you start again?
the name of the author.
I'm sorry, this document does not identify who the author is, sir.
It does sound like a robot, which I heard from some people.
Yeah.
Yes.
It identifies this as your phone,
That is, yes.
but each comment doesn't identify who sent it.
No, it does not. I assume it's an extraction from one device, but
I see. If you've made any of the comments yourself, would you tell us?
if I made those comments?
No, if you make any of them in here as you read them, will you point out if you?
Absolutely, absolutely, yes.
Okay. And if you don't know who made the comment, could you just identify that for us as you read it so we know?
Okay, do you want me to continue the next page?
Why don't we start over because I
Okay.
should have been more clear in my direction. Could you begin again?
So in the beginning, it says, funny, I am going through his retarded client's phone.
Is that your comment?
No, it is not.
Okay, next.
It appears to be the same person because of the way that the extraction happens, and it says no nudes so far. Again, this I believe it's the same person because all of these are identified as sent. It says, I hate that man. I truly hate him.
Do you have any belief that's Michael Proctor who was writing these?
Yes, I believe
Okay.
that is.
Next, please.
There's a blank page.
Okay, let me
That's
just
the
go.
end.
I want to see where he says, I acknowledge the text
That it
message.
took part of the information that came through and acknowledged it with a thumbs up emoji.
Again, he's saying he read all these text messages from Proctor saying, I truly hate that man, talking about Alan Jackson and the retarded girl's phone, no nude so far. He is his supervisor. He said, I acknowledged it with this gesture. I know that whenever I do this gesture on a text message, it's I like. Sometimes I do I love. Sometimes I do haha. Sometimes I do exclamation points. But when I do this in a text message that you send me, it's I like it. It's not I acknowledge it. So this guy is like lying with a stone face to a jury that probably knows what this means.
um, indicating that I read it.
At some point,
Look
did
at
you
his
learn
face.
everything that
Just total sociopathic. So I don't know how to say that. He looks like a sociopath, like no emotion. And when you are like a narcissist and you have a very low, very small amygdala, or you have no sense of compassion and empathy, you think you can say whatever to people. And that's where the word salad, the gaslighting terms come from, because they will say whatever to people. They will expect them to just believe, even though it sounds crazy. Like you make other people think they're questioning their sanity. No, this does not mean acknowledging it. But he will say it and then he'll be like, next question. Like nothing just happened. Okay, so next I want to show you guys when Alan Jackson is going to ask, okay, so you're talking about this investigation was conducted correctly, the most appropriate
And that-
way. I want to know, what about this investigation after Michael Proctor sent you this text and you acknowledged it? Was this
the
conducted?
integrity that is necessary.
You just used the word I was about to use. That ensures the adequacy of the investigation, correct?
Yes.
To use your word, that ensures the integrity of the investigation. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
As you sit here today, do you believe that this investigation, now I'm going to turn to this investigation, was conducted with professionalism, with competence, at the highest level of integrity?
This investigation was conducted professionally with integrity, and all the evidence collected, all the statements collected pointed in one direction. There was no bias influence on the evidence, on the information that was collected.
Well, the question was this investigation conducted with integrity and honor and honesty? And you're saying the evidence was collected with integrity.
Or which direction the investigation pointed naturally.
Former Trooper Michael Proctor
Former.
was the person who was the assigned case agent, the lead case agent in this particular investigation.
He's very
correct?
angry, very angry.
Michael Proctor was the case officer for this investigation.
He was assigned ultimately, to use another phrase, as the lead investigator, wasn't he?
Oh, he doesn't like that.
I'm not going to agree with you.
Is there a reason that you want to try to distance yourself from naming Michael Proctor as the lead investigator in the case? Is there some reason?
I am not trying to distance myself. All I'm saying is the term that I use is the case officer. We're simply case managers. There's no leading investigation in any direction.
Wait, aren't you a supervisor though? Aren't you Michael Proctor's supervisor? So there is no reason for him to be doing that. There is no reason for him to be quarreling or arguing about such a moot point. I mean, the prosecution calls Trooper Proctor the lead investigator. Trooper Proctor testified last year as the lead investigator. So you coming here now and saying he wasn't the lead is just another lie. Okay, next.
Mr. Proctor had access to that room and was taking control over those clothing items for those 6 days that they were drawing on the butcher paper, correct?
That's not necessarily correct. It could have been the evidence officers bagging the evidence once it's dried and processing it. I highly doubt Trooper Proctor had access to the beast machine to print that label.
Right. I'm not asking if he printed the label. I'm asking if he bagged the item and walked it up to the evidence locker and the label was printed up there.
Again, I don't know who bagged the items.
That would be normal protocol, though, correct?
Somebody else bagging the items?
No, the case officer bagging the items. He's the one that seized it along with you. He laid them out on the butcher paper along with you. He would be the one to gather them up. I mean, the evidence officer is not going to come down there and do that without the case officer knowing, correct?
Not necessarily. The evidence officer's responsibility is to handle the evidence. So I don't know who handled the evidence that day.
How would the evidence officer know to go down there? How would he know that there were clothing items being laid out to dry on butcher paper unless the case officer told him?
They would walk by it every day and see it. That's their workstation. So
Right.
they would know that, hey, this evidence is drying. There's only 4 detectives in the office at that time working on this case. We communicate daily. So they would know that, hey, it's dried. Let's bag it up.
Well, that's a lot of speculation, especially from the supervisor, literally, who just said, I have no idea who bagged it up. They weren't communicating with you, were they?
I was giving you an explanation of
A
what could have
speculation.
happened.
Right. Speculation about what could have happened, right?
Well, I certainly did not bag that item.
Right.
Okay, so here he's talking about when they had the clothes drying on top of the paper, and he's saying that he doesn't know who logged it, he doesn't know who put it in the bag. He's like, probably the people that collect evidence. I don't know. It was there. We left it there. They walk by they walk by every day, and they probably looked at the table. They're like, oh, is that evidence for us? Okay, we'll bag it for you. But I don't know who did it. I don't care who did it. It's not my job to care. I don't know why you're asking me questions. And I'm not a forensic expert, but I was watching another channel this week, Duty Ron. I don't know how to say it, Duty Ron. And one of them was in this line of work, and he was explaining how when there's a outfit or a piece of clothing that might be wet, that they pack everything at the scene, one thing individually, like even if they're fibers, he will do like a tape thing to collect the fibers, put it in a bag, close it separately. He would take the shirt, close it, and then they would take it to the lab where they do have machines that will dry the items properly. So nobody takes a bunch of evidence and puts in the same bag, doesn't label, doesn't give it to anybody, doesn't remember who has it, and just goes to the office and puts it on the table to dry and turns on the fan. That's not how it works. But he says it is, and his face is like, that's the way we do it. And I don't understand why there's an issue with you. I don't understand why you are asking me questions, because I'm entitled. I'm arrogant. So all I do is correct. And this is the type of professional that they have in Canton right now. And that's why this case has become so popular, because people are doesn't matter what you think, if Karenread could have hit him or not, just the investigation itself is reasonable doubt, because they don't have the evidence properly collected. They don't have the logs. They don't keep the evidence correctly. So when they come to testify, they say whatevs. It just shows the level of professionalism that they will take with anybody. It could be somebody's family, and then what? They're okay with somebody going to prison for the rest of their lives without any proper procedure. This guy is obviously okay with that.
I'm not talking about a report after the fact. I'm talking about a log, real-time log, indicating who may have come in and handled or touched or manipulated those clothes in that 6-day span.
Please remember to hit the like and subscribe if you're not. And I'm so glad you guys are here.
I've never seen a log like that. No.
Reasonable doubt. I've never seen a log. I don't know what a log is.
The fact is, we don't have a single document establishing the chain of custody for those items between
Chain of
January
custody.
29th
what is that?
and February 4th.
Yes,
That's
Ed
correct,
Wallace, CSI.
That
He
is
is amazing.
absolutely
Thank
not
you,
correct.
J.I.
Where's the log of the document logging what happened to it?
We seized the clothing. It was in our possession. It was transferred for processing.
Sergeant, I'm asking you about a log.
Thank
a
you,
written
Kelly
piece of
Cal,
paper.
for the gift of
Something
membership.
that looks like this. It's got writing on it.
You know what
It
a log is? A
logs
report, sir?
the item between January 29th and February 4th. That doesn't exist, does it?
The evidence
We did
bagged
not create a
itself.
log to document the documentation,
Thank
so it'd be redundant, really.
Okay, so as he was saying that, it'll be look at his body shift. He does want to seem like he's all confident and he's on the right, but his body's like, no, we're messing up here, sir. So he's saying it would be redundant. He did a one shoulder shrug, which is a very common sign of deception. It's his brain is like, the information you're saying with your lips is not coherent with common sense. And then he does a whole shift, like rearranging himself again, taking another deep breath, because he's just on this fight. Like, he is not backing down. He will go to the grave thinking that he is doing the best job, or saying that he's doing the best job, and not taking accountability for any mistakes whatsoever. This is somebody who has been used to this, right? He's somebody who is used to not taking accountability. He's used to, maybe because of his Marine background and working with the presidents and everything. Look at me, adapter, itching my nose. Oh, maybe I'm nervous. So he is used to being, I guess, entitled and just not taking responsibility, because he doesn't have an inch of it. He doesn't feel like he needs to say anything about any of the mistakes that occurred. It'll be
You
redundant
indicated on
to have a
direct
report.
examination that you personally participated in 2 searches at 34 Fairview, one on February 4th, one on February 10th. Is that right?
That is not right.
What did I get wrong?
That is not
I was also there
right.
on the 3rd, 4th, and 10th.
Okay, Calico is asking, do you think he's mad or just being difficult? So he starts off being very difficult, just trying to, just parsing words. There's no leader in team, etc., etc. At sometimes he becomes mad. When he becomes mad, he does a lot of chewing with his lips. He does a lot of head movements. And it's usually when Alan Jackson is pressuring him about a question about some mistake that he made. For example, how long did it take you to log this? How long did you take to produce a report? Did you produce a report? But he does show a lot of anger overall. So let me move to one where Alan Jackson is going to ask him about the log not being written until a year later.
Sergeant, is that
Let's see if he shows anger
no
here.
report was written about any of these searches until November 4th, 2023.
Enjoy your
Correct.
walk, Calico.
That could be possible, yes.
So literally the documentation of these 3 searches about which you've testified today, the documentation did not exist until, what is that math, 17, 18 months later?
That is not true. Each bag that the evidence went into was documented, the time, location, who recovered it, where it was recovered, and brief description of the items that were recovered from the scene.
And by the way, we're going to get to that in a second, the evidence bags. A report is designed to memorialize exactly what happens, when it happens, why it happened, who was there, what time it happened, things of that nature.
Deep breath.
That is one of the purposes, or some of the purposes behind the report, absolutely, yes.
And the report in this case that documented these 3 searches involving you, Trooper Proctor, I think Trooper DeChico, even Canton PD officers, there was no memorialization in a report.
You can hear his breathing.
Until nearly 18 months later. Is that right?
It's possible, yeah. We write reports
Look at the entitlement. It's possible.
at different times.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he has a little contempt on the side of the mouth. He did it really quick. And no Fs. He doesn't give an F. He has no Fs to give. Okay. His eyebrows are raised, kind of like surprised. You're surprised. I'm shocked that you want to know these things. He has no worry. He has no worry, no fear during this examination. I mean, at the end, I believe when he starts answering Alan Jackson as sir, yes, sir, no, sir. There are parts that he does that. I believe that he kind of gets tired of this persona that he is portraying now. This I know it all. I didn't do anything wrong. Nothing that we did was wrong. Everything was the most appropriate, the most ethical possible way. But he is going to get tired towards the end.
I want to ask you about this February 4th visit to the crime scene. You indicated that sometime in the morning, 8:45, 9 a.m., something like that, you responded?
On the 4th, sir?
On the 4th.
I was driving to work, so I would have to say 8:45 or so. Yeah, I mean, I don't have the exact timestamp, but if you know, if you have something to refresh my memory, I could tell you if that's accurate.
Oh, that reminds me of
the exact time. It was in the morning on the 4th.
It was.
All right. Did you know Chief of Police Ken Berkowitz before you responded on the 4th to 34 Fairview?
Yes, I knew who he was. I had met him previously, and he was present on the 29th when the vehicle was delivered to the Sally Port.
He was actually in the Sally Port, at least at some time, when the vehicle was delivered, correct?
He was there at some point. I had a conversation with him.
Okay. Tall guy, short guy?
Chief Berkowitz was a shorter guy.
Okay. Do you know who Brian Higgins is?
Okay, I'm going to pause here so we don't go into another subject. Yeah, and he did pass away. The Chief Berkowitz did pass away. So, I don't know, where is it? Karina says, I don't think he looked to Hank to save him like so many others do, though, which is true. What he does is he looks down to the right. He like kind of searches for an answer. And then I wanted to Mark, hello, good to see you here. Hit the like button, please. Yeah, he passed away December 2024, sharply opinionated. Here's Daily Quick Bites. Bianca, why should he care unless the feds get him? Nothing is going to happen to him. Of course, odds are he lied to the feds about something so that they could get him. Yeah, the entitlement comes because they are not used to consequences, right? I mean, when I used to work in an office and I was somebody's assistant and I had to like give these reports and just say where I was with everything, all the files, here are the documents, here's the status, here's what I'm doing. Then that manager had a supervisor, and that supervisor had a team leader, and so on until you get to the CEO. Nobody else in no other activity, no other profession can just do whatever the heck they want and expect no accountability and get angry when people are asking questions. But the troopers in Canton, they can do whatever, man.
You were advised that he had a estimated 10% of survival rate. We engaged our services and responded to Canton Police to begin the investigation.
So the answer to that question is yes, correct?
His face?
Yes.
So little things, he keeps moving the finger, big swallow. Somebody said in the chat that they're bothered by him just resting his elbow here and that they think that's rude. I understand, but this is a way for him to keep his body centered and without a lot of movement to show that he is under control. But you will see little things like he's doing this and then his fingers will go like this. He's going to do a deep swallow, breathing that you can sometimes hear because that is nervousness and that is normal.
You'll often work with a local police agency, even though
hear the breathing?
Even though Massachusetts State Police may have statutory jurisdiction over the case because it's a homicide, right?
Yes, part of our mission is to aid and assist local police departments when they request it. In this specific situation, as I
So I'm going to stop here for a quick moment, just so you guys understand what I am noticing here. Here's a perfect display of the narcissism. Okay, this is a question that Alan Jackson asked twice, and here, watch how the trooper smirks. He looks like he thinks he's doing a great job, like a narcissist who loves his own voice. And some narcissistic traits can be grandiose self perception. I'm doing a great job. We did the most wonderful, the most appropriate investigation. Sense of entitlement, which he's showing throughout this whole cross examination, and a tendency to be overly sensitive to criticism or rejection. So he obviously has not admitted any mistakes, and all criticism that Alan has thrown his way has been just disregarded, right? So let's look at his demeanor here.
stated earlier, the DA's office has exclusive jurisdiction over death investigations, and our office has that responsibility of investigating those cases. But we work very well with local departments.
So the answer to that question is yes.
Anger.
Correct?
Yes.
He's like,
If you can
I
answer
just
my question-
answered you a fantastic, look at the anger. Okay, watch the lips starting to purse here, starting to get the little, fighting lips. Because he thinks he did a freaking great job at that answer. He's like, I just gave you a very long answer, so that should be great because all people are stupid and it doesn't matter what I say as long as it's a lot of words. And then Alan's like, okay, so that's a yes. And then he gets mad.
And yes or no, this will go a lot faster.
He's like, all right, whatever, I don't care. Anger, look at the lip
In
biting.
this case, even though you oftentimes work with local law enforcement agencies, it was determined that you would not continue working with Canton PD because of a conflict or the perception of a potential conflict of interest, correct?
To alleviate any perception, not that one existed, the Canton Police Department recused themselves from being involved in the interview portion of the investigation.
And that's in no small part because the lawn on which Mr. O'Keefe was found belongs to to Brian Albert, and Kevin Albert, Brian Albert's brother, worked as a detective at Canton Police Department, correct?
That was my understanding why they chose to take those steps.
Okay. Another thing that I wanted to clip here so we all have it
Personal
is
relationship.
when he's going to say that if the report was authored by him, approved by him, stamped by him, a bunch of requirements, or Michael Proctor, he would take it as gospel. Let's see that one.
If you show me a report stating that, I would like to take a look. If it's written in a report authored by me or that I approved, I will take it for to be fact.
As you sit here now,
Fact,
you don't have
okay.
a memory of that conversation with Brian Higgins?
Do I have a memory of having a conversation with him
No,
and him sharing that information with me?
That's it.
I don't have a memory of him sharing that information, but if you have a report that was authored by me or Michael Proctor or any trooper in our office that says that, I will take it as gospel and testify to it.
Okay.
Gospel.
Well, I don't want to take up the time to
He
look.
will take it as gospel, whatever Michael Proctor wrote. That shows us the type of person that he is. So he chose, we all have freedom of choice, right? He chose to pick a side. And once Michael Proctor went down, everybody could see who he truly is and all his thoughts, and that he wished the defendant died, and that he called her all those names. This guy is testifying, and he came in choosing to say it's unfortunate that he got fired. It's unfortunate that he won't be a future resource. It's unfortunate that he won't be able to testify. And whatever he says in his reports, I'll take it as gospel. He won't believe Alan Jackson when he asks the question. He's like, I'm not going to go by your word. He said that to Alan Jackson. But he will go by the disgraced former Michael Proctor. Mary says, I love the body language explanations. I'm so glad, Mary. If you're new here, welcome. We have a lot of videos on body language. I hope you can enjoy them, especially JENNIFERMACABE. She's the first one that made me want to start this channel. That was how impactful JENNIFERMACABE's face expressions were to me. Kelly Cow, it's hard to tell between normal nervousness and lying. People get away with lying to me all the time. LOL is bad. Kelly, maybe it's because you are a sweet person who believes people. You have a good heart. Because I can totally, I don't know how to lie well because my face will start doing things. But people can lie to me as well. Like, people can lie to me and I'll be like, oh, really? That's true? I'll believe anything. So, sometimes we're just gullible and that's fine. Normal nervousness. So there are a few things. So one of the best body language experts, his name is Joe Navarro. And I study, from his teachings, most of it. And he says, and he was a FBI profiler, interrogator, very, very professional in the area. And people would rely on his opinion to know if the person being interrogated was lying or not. And he says in his books, it's almost impossible to tell when somebody's lying. If somebody tells you this person is lying, don't believe them. They're probably lying, because every individual has different characteristics, different traits, different baselines, things that we do normally that other people don't do. And then we also have clusters, things that happen simultaneously based on the subject being discussed. So depending on the question or the subject, when we see clusters, multiple things happening with our face simultaneously, so tongue jut, lip pursing, biting, face expressions like chin up, like he's doing here. Sometimes he'll do like a chin jut, and then he'll do the chewing and all of that. That shows anger, but we also have to think about, okay, what is the question? What is the situation? Why would he be angry? And then we can identify the body language meaning. Now, lying, they have a few tells that people talk about that are universal. It's not a lot of them, but for example, one shoulder shrug is considered a sign of deception because it's not something that our bodies do normally. So for our brain to do that one thing is very incoherent. So our brain and the information being provided are not congruent. So there are several little things, but it's very hard to tell, to be simple as I can. It's very hard to tell when somebody's lying. So now I have another one, just Alan Jackson saying something to him that I want to clip here for us.
Got the video and delivered it to him, correct? At his request.
Yes, as the case officer, I would, yeah.
Because as the case officer, he's entitled to ask for things, have them delivered, correct?
Anybody's entitled to ask for things, absolutely. We are pursuing justice. We're looking
Botched
for
investigation.
any and all possible evidence.
Good
I'm
to
sure
see
you
you.
are. As the case
I'm
officer,
sure you are.
he's entitled to ask for things to be delivered to him,
Yes, yes.
even by his supervisor.
Yes, absolutely.
If you don't mind turning to tab 10, please. Do you recognize that report?
I'm sorry, I was still turning.
No, he cannot say yes. He cannot say something simple. Oh, pizza sounds great, Calico.
It's the same
he's
report.
coming back Monday, guys. He's
Same
definitely
report,
coming back Monday. He's
different
not
paragraph.
done.
Also talking about, or the different sentence, talking about a July 2023 CPD or Canton Police Department video that was also requested, correct?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
Sure. That particular part of the report.
We
I'm
have
directing
100
your
people in the
attention to
chat.
July of
Welcome,
2023.
everybody.
There was a Canton Police
That's
Department.
amazing. I just want to stop here real quick. Let's do a celebration. Woo! We have 100 people in the chat. Okay, now they're gone. But we had it. We had it for a second, and I'm so excited because it's the first time. So thank you so much, everybody that has always been supporting the channel. Thank you guys that watch the videos that I just record. Thank you so much for all the comments, the shares, the likes, because it's really helping. And if you guys don't participate, it really makes me like not have so much motivation, you know, because sometimes especially the body language videos that I have to clip and write stuff on it, they take hours sometimes. And I really appreciate that you guys support and that you guys are here. I really do. And I hope that you guys enjoy the content. I do it for you.
Department video requested by someone, correct?
Yes,
Who was that requested by?
Trooper Proctor.
And who delivered it to Trooper Proctor?
I did.
Turn to tab 11, please. Do you see a document referencing the analysis of Canton Town library videos?
I do.
And who is it that's listed as having received and reviewed and analyzed the town library videos?
Give me just 1 second. I have to read the report.
Definitely, David. We did do that in the beginning, but I will play at the end again for you if you want. Thank you, Avanella Rising, for sharing me. Good to find you too. Oh my God, I can't believe they renamed Chloe. That's the worst. I hate that. She now identifies as Cora. She's like, miss me. I don't know any of you guys. Thank you. We're all met here. I need to learn how to do that because Karina asked me before. I tried, but anyways, we'll definitely do that. Thank you, Mark. It helps to get this stream out. Yes, yes, yes. I'm so excited, guys. I'm so happy. Poor Chloe, rehomed and then dead.
It was Trooper Proctor that analyzed the video and wrote up the timeline.
Thank you.
All right. So Trooper Proctor is the lead? No, he's just a team player. Kelly Purcell, hello from London. And I am new to your channel, but I am obsessed with this trial. This guy is a joke. Welcome, Kelly. We are so happy you're here. This is a great chat. A lot of great people. We have been together actually since last year. A lot of people in the chat. We watched this trial last year. We did a lot of body language videos on the witnesses. Something different that I tried to do here is I tried to show you guys exactly at the time that the person's face is doing something. You know, we replay the videos, we play them in slow motion so that you guys can start recognizing the facial expressions that I'm talking about. Some body language videos I watched that I wish it was a little bit different is because they play the video and then they talk, and then they play the video. And then I'm like, but where did this happen? Where did that happen? I'm still trying to learn because they're way more advanced. But I hope that you like the channel. There's a lot of videos. I have a whole playlist on Karen Read from last year. And then this is a Karen Read retrial playlist. So please check it out. Avanella says, subscribed. Thank you so much. David Quick Bites. Oh, we haven't even gotten to the inverse video yet. No, this is coming probably Monday. I wonder if they're going to bring the inverted video or if they're going to bring the video correct now. We're all mad here. I have never been a mod before, so I am no help with that. You can do all things that you set your mind to. Kelly Cow acting like he doesn't already know this. Mark, loving hugs from Lady Lake, Florida. Nice. I'm in Florida too. Good, good. Glenn says corruption is a team sport. Sharply opinionated. How many people in the chat think Yuri spends the whole weekend trying to drink off this embarrassment? Yeah, because think about it. He's so entitled and arrogant that he's probably not even studying his testimony. He's like, I don't care. I'll just say whatever. I won't have any consequences. We're all mad. We had a lot of laughs while learning things about human behavior. Yes. Oh my gosh. Proctor, Higgins. Let's talk about Higgins real quick. I know that Yuri read all the text messages, but Higgins was one of my favorite witnesses last year because he was so stupid saying the things that he was saying. Did you throw your phone away, sir? No, I got rid of it. Did you throw it away? I got rid of it. I had every right to do that. So I'm kind of bummed out if they don't call Higgins because I thought he made an idiot out of himself and it was very enjoyable to watch that. Avanella says, and he did some of those hot dance moves. Oh, that's Buchanick. Brooklyn, I don't know how Yuri climbs out of this mess. Apparently, there's no consequences for him, so apparently he's fine. That's what I hear. Glenn, Yuri got up on the wrong side of the bed. He made. Yay, Bianca! I don't think he feels embarrassed at all. He doesn't care enough to do that. Exactly. Higgins, such a sad little man with no game. Okay, so now another part that everybody was talking about from Trooper Buchanek's testimony was this.
I didn't pay attention to it, no.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I can't believe Karen said he was hot, that Higgins was hot.
If you could take a look at those 3 pages briefly.
Because Mr.
that's
O'Keefe was
all-
very handsome.
May refresh your recollection.
I
That's the last page.
don't know what the colloquy means. Can you?
Conversation.
I see.
Okay, so that's another one because he asked for a dictionary at one point. I don't know what colloquy means. Okay, fine. Maybe we don't all use colloquy all the time. Another time was this.
That they're constantly lying about everything.
Do you understand the colloquialism all the time?
I
Suspects.
do not know the term colloquialism.
Okay, let's try it a different way.
So maybe he is a little less than smart, right? Colloquialism is very common. I mean, the other word I can't pronounce, colloquy means a conversation. That one I don't hear it all the time. But he's like parsing words. He's parsing words. Oh, you're saying all the time. No, witness don't like all the time because that would mean that everything they say is a lie. And then later he will use the same language. So you know, just being difficult again. Just being difficult again. So let me move on to the not day 13 yet. This one is talking about Brian Albert being present when there was an interview.
Conduct the interview at the house with Brian Albert, yes.
So do I, definitely, David. So do
Do
I.
you find that odd?
Absolutely not.
Totally normal for you to conduct a formal interview in a homicide case and have an extra person show up at the house
Haha.
just to be there?
Absolutely. Cooperating witnesses always try and be assisting. So cooperating witnesses would assist us.
You just use the word always. You don't know what all the time means.
That's colloquialism. Look at his face. He was so mad. He was like,
Well, they're cooperating. It's in the nature.
They always try to help you out.
Okay, maybe I misspoke. They are cooperating witnesses. So always is such a finite, definitive statement. I apologize for using it.
And if
so he doesn't seem to be very smart. I mean, honestly, I'm surprised because I thought, you know, a Marine that was riding with the presidents in a helicopter, very, very impressive background. But this interaction here is very interesting. Very interesting. He's like, you asked me if the witnesses were always lying. That wouldn't be possible because always means they were lie all the time. And now he's saying cooperating witnesses are always cooperating. That is their nature because they are called cooperating witnesses. But it doesn't even make any sense because what if the cooperating witness is just pretending to be a cooperating witness because they're actually the murderer that is infiltrating themselves in the investigation like we see all the time. Have you never watched Dexter? Dexter was literally the CSI and he is inserting himself in all of the investigations and he was cooperating, but he was really the guy who was killing everybody. So he's like, no, by the word cooperating witness means that they're always cooperating. And he laughs, like he smirks. Like, don't you get it? And we're like, no, nobody gets it. Nobody gets it because you are calling them cooperating witnesses. It doesn't mean that they're always cooperating. Doesn't mean they're always being honest with you. They could be lying. And he's like, he's like, I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand. Otto says, I think the defense will call Higgins. I would love that. I would love that because that was just so great. That was just so great. J.I., nah, he's playing, but he's going up against a master, Alan Jackson, who is making him look like a dummy. So you don't think he is a dummy sometimes. You think he's like playing. Okay, that's fine. Because sometimes I think he really doesn't understand. Glenn Lake says the defense to call Dexter to the stand. I love Dexter so much. Sheila P. Ted Bundy too. Oh, he used to do that. Okay. We're all mad here. Where do most of you watch the trial? You're asking everybody. Where do most of you watch the trial? I think that's what you're asking. I watch Emily D. Baker because I'm always like running around and I just have her in the background. But then later I have to rewatch it with Court TV because I need to timestamp it and I can't timestamp her video. But anyways, I don't know. You're asking everybody in the chat. We're all mad here. Oh wait, maybe I should before put names. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Since otherwise I'm gonna read all your messages. Ray says, I'm new here. Welcome, Ray. We're glad to have you. We have a great chat, great friends here, and we have a lot of content on the Karen Read trial. Check out the Karen Read playlist and the Karen Read retrial playlist. Mark says, have to call Higgins, big part of all of this. Corina says, I watch with Melanie Little. Oh, nice. And also Andrea. Andrea is fantastic. She's so smart and she is great. Another person I've watched trials with that I really love is Recovery Addict. I really like his style as well. Queen Olive says, I watch with Brandy Churchwell. She's great as well. So very good, guys. Brooklyn, when he said English is not his first language, I was going to throw my computer on the wall. Sharp Blueprint ATV is the best I've watched so far. Yeah. And also, Uncivil Law was here earlier in the chat. And that was like so awesome. Great honor because to have like I'm just trying to be a YouTuber, to have a real YouTuber that has been doing this for a long time in the chat was awesome. So check out his channel as well. And then what else? Andrew's the best. Yeah, Andrew is really, really good. So let's go on with what else, Mr. B. So this is day 13, which is the last day he testified, and he is gonna come in again, even more arrogance in the beginning.
6 weeks later, 5 weeks later, correct?
I don't know that to be correct, no.
But you can't point to any documentation. You're looking at the logs. You can't point to any documentation indicating the chain of custody of these items between February 10th and March 14th. Is that right?
This is simply a log from the lab.
Yes or no? Can you point to any documentation?
Ask the question.
Can you point to any documentation indicating where those items went, whose possession they were in what circumstance between February 10th and March 14th? Can you point to any document?
I know that it was collected on February 10th.
Right.
It's documented that it was collected. It was at the Norfolk District Attorney's Office before it was logged into the lab for processing.
You keep answering the same question that I'm not asking, sir.
He's so angry right now.
No comments, Mr. Jackson.
Sergeant Buchanan, do you understand my question? I'm asking, can you point to a single document for these jurors as to where those items went and in
Getting
whose
hot in
possession they
here,
remain,
right?
specifically between February 10th, when you lost sight of them, and March 14th, when the crime lab received them?
Objection.
Sustained.
May I approach?
Yes.
There is no log.
I'm sorry, Mr.
Just for
Brennan.
the evidence.
Just for the evidence. False start. As the supervisor, you're generally aware of the evidence in this case, correct?
It depends, but Very generally on most cases, yes.
As a matter of fact, as the supervisor, one of
He
your
keeps
duties
drinking
would
that
be
smart
to
water.
make sure that evidence is
getting high,
collected
he's
and
like
processed
taking his shirt off
appropriately and
almost.
properly, correct?
That is the standard, yes.
You're also aware that all of the physical evidence that was booked eventually at the crime lab on March 14th, 2022, was done so by Michael Proctor, correct?
I'm not sure exactly who delivered it or who booked it in. But if you have a document, I will reflect on it.
I will reflect on it. Just the arrogance, man. Just the arrogance. Let me try to find a video here real quick since he's saying, if you have a document, I will reflect on it. Let me see.
Do you have something I can look at to refresh my memory?
Asked you questions about where Miss Reed's SUV
If you
was.
can show me, can I see it?
Do you have it?
Do you have it?
I do.
Is that it?
Is it in there?
Is it in there?
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
You were,
what?
in fact, asked about Ryan Nagel's Jeep, weren't you?
Everybody wants to see the report. If you have a document, I'll look at it. Oh, no. If you have a document, I'll look at it. If you have a document, I'll consider it. That's what he said. And that just reminds me every time of Jennifer McCabe. It's just every time. Every time. Can I see it? Can I have the report? Do you have it? I want it. Do you have it?
Contemporaneous to the recovery of the...
He doesn't know what contemporaneous means.
It's possible you can do that if there's a reason that you have to leave, an emergency or weather conditions you can't write on the bag. You can fill it out later if you have the time.
If you have
and
the
you know where you
time.
recovered it from, which is like, in this instance, if it was a general vicinity where all the other fragments of evidence was collected from, it's known that it was within the general area of that section of the lawn near the flagpole between the street and the flagpole and the fire hydrant.
Well, except
So it's
the person that filled out that evidence envelope wasn't with you.
well, I passed that information along to them.
To who?
So now it's hearsay information that's being passed along to someone else to fill out the envelope.
Objection.
Sustained.
It's secondhand, let's use that word, it's secondhand information to the person that's filling out the evidence envelope, correct?
No, it's firsthand information. I passed that along to them.
To
It
who?
went from you to a person filling out the envelope who wasn't there. Let's at least agree.
You said you were alone.
I was by myself, so yes.
Did you pass it to?
I told the individual what
Oh.
time, what location, the case number, the date, obviously.
How do you know? How do you know that you told the individual to whom you passed this along the time, the location, the date? How do you know that?
Big swallow.
Because that information was then put on the bag and documented.
But
It
you can't even
wasn't.
remember who you talked to.
All that was in the bag was 34 Fairview. Nothing else was in the bag. There was no location, no nothing like that.
I do not remember specifically who I talked to, no.
If you can't remember who you talked to, you don't remember what you said. Goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
That's not true. I might not remember now, but the day that it was bagged on February 10th, 2022, I remembered. And that's why the accurate, detailed information is on the bag.
Accurate and detailed. You don't remember now, but you're sure that you remembered then. This is not sufficient. It's not sufficient, sir. It's not sufficient. It's not. You can't testify that you're sure that you remembered back then if you can't remember today. You have no log, no reports. Who did you give it to? I don't know. But I'm sure I gave it to somebody that was trustworthy. Why? Because it was me. I did it. And everything I do is in the best, most appropriate way. That is how he's testifying. That is how he's testifying. Let me read the little details. Wait, once you hear the most annoying sound in the word Chad. Okay. Kurt Smith, but everyone is certain Karenread confessed, but can't remember anything else. No, because even during his testimony, he's gonna say, "I thought she said I hit him with a glass." Ray, I don't believe he doesn't recognize Proctor's handwriting. Okay, that were, let me just say here, sharply opinionated. I like to surf through them all, but EDB only looks at the legal aspect, giving you the choice to decide who's telling the facts and why certain things are not allowed, i.e., objections. Yes, most of the times, yes, but I have watched some trials with her where she does have a very view, like she has a more, she leans more toward prosecution because she was a prosecutor, which makes sense. Ray, I mostly listen to trial, and this is my first time really watching him. His smirking would drive me nuts if I was a juror. That is why it's so important to watch the body language of these witnesses, because if I had never seen JENNIFERMACABE with my eyes testifying, I would have thought maybe whatever she was saying was fine. But I understand because I also listen to trials while I'm running errands, and then later I sit and I have to watch some of the videos because the faces of these people are incredible. Mark says, I bet 2 million people around the world are watching. Sharply opinionated. Can you imagine telling a judge in a criminal investigation that you found the bullets in the general vicinity of a dead body, where the dead body was, without giving exact coordinates, and then saying, I gave it to the guy. Okay, who did you give the bullets? I found the gun, I found the casings of the shooting over there. I gave it to the guy. Who did you give it to somebody trustworthy? Don't worry, it's somebody trustworthy. I don't remember now, but I know I remembered when I gave it to him. Okay. All right. So that's all you need from me. Mark says, cover up the cover up. LOL, Bianca. Daily quick bites. In many jurisdictions, you aren't allowed to be a cop if you are too intelligent. It's a fact. You can look it up. There was even at least one court case about it. I am gonna have to look it up because I believe everything you say, and I don't know. This sounds like it's not true. How many of these jurors have seen news reports where the cops have got all sorts of little yellow triangle pieces with numbers on them to document where everything was found? Okay, so the one that I want to also pull, we're almost done. The one that I want to say here is where he says the general vicinity is the exact.
Do you need me to repeat the question?
Was there a question? Go ahead, please.
Sure. Is there a report that documents exactly where at 34 Fairview on the property these 20-odd items were found exactly?
The report documenting where they were recovered from is number 83 that you've just presented. Exact location
Exact
is the same general vicinity.
general vicinity. Get it? The exact location of the item is the general vicinity. So go over there and just generally imagine where the item could have been found. That's where it was found. And that is exactly the right spot.
If it was something different, if we located these items across the street, different section of the yard, that would have been documented.
And just the arrogance, just the changing posture. Again, defiant body language. If it was different, we would have documented it. I mean, who's saying that? You? Because I don't trust anything you're saying.
What's documented in the report that you just referenced says bullet point 2/10/22, meaning February 10/22 at 9:15 a.m. Sergeant Buchanick secured 6 pieces of red, black, and clear plastic, period. That's what it says, right?
Yes, same general vicinity. If there was a different
That's
location,
what the report says, isn't it? That's all I'm asking. That's what the report says.
Correct.
I just quoted.
No question. He's not going
that's
to
the
answer.
description of the items
So the
recovered.
answer is yes. That's what the report says.
That is part of the report. That is the description of the items recovered.
Where's the
on that day.
location?
And the bullet point beneath that says
Big swallow
February
there.
10th, 2022 at 9:15 a.m., Sergeant Buchanick secured 14 pieces of glass and plastic fragments. Correct?
That's correct.
There is no further description of where those items were found, is there?
There is.
Where's the report with the further description of exactly where they were found?
It might not be in the report. It might be on the description of the bag, describing that
not.
it was
It's
34
not.
Fairview Road. The report indicates and encompasses itself where those items were recovered from. Clearly, the same general vicinity the initial items were recovered from. If there was a need to document a different location, it would have happened.
There
Did you
is
see
there is no need to document. There is no need. If there was a need, it would have happened. It would have happened. So word salad. Word salad indicates a disruption in the brain's ability to translate thoughts into coherent language. It can involve problems with word selection, sentencing structure, or even the ability to form words at all. He just talks, and then his demeanor is like, I just gave you the most appropriate explanation in the world. If there was a need for any documentation, I would have documented it. If I didn't document it, obviously it's because it wasn't needed. And then he looks at Alan like, what else do you want? Like, why are you asking me things? Okay, another one I want to play is this one. This is the
That's all
bag.
that was.
This is the bag they're talking about right now. That he said, okay, the pieces are there, and it was found in the general vicinity. That was the exact location. The exact location was the general vicinity of where? Location, 34 Fairview. That's all it says. Was it in the house? Was it in the garage? Was it in the kitchen? Was it in the lawn? Where was it?
But yes,
And you didn't fill this bag out, did you?
no, I did not.
Who did?
I do not know.
Who did?
I don't know.
You don't recognize the handwriting?
No, I do not.
You don't recognize the handwriting of your partner and subordinate, Michael
Right,
Proctor?
Sheila.
Objection.
Exactly.
Are you aware that Michael Proctor filled this out?
Objection.
Were you with Michael Proctor when this was bagged?
No, I was not. I was by myself.
Did you give the items of evidence to Michael Proctor?
Or a body rate. They
No, I
didn't
did
see a
not.
body either.
Who did you give it to bag?
I bagged it myself.
Whose handwriting is that?
I don't know.
I do not know.
If you bagged it yourself,
He's so
why didn't you
mad.
fill out the evidence?
He's doing the little lip pursing, which is an aggressive body language move. Like, you want to fight? You want to fight? You want to fight me? I do not know. I don't care. I don't give a shit.
I bagged it and turned it over, and I told him exactly where it was and what time. So someone else wrote the information.
You just said I bagged it and told him.
Turned it over.
No, sir. No, sir. What you just said was I bagged it and turned it over to him. And you don't know who it is that you turned it over to? Who's the him?
Turned it over to them.
Who's
Them.
Who? Who's them?
Whoever
Whoever
wrote
it is. I don't give a shit.
Whoever wrote it.
So
And
we're
he's
just in a
laughing.
circle here.
He's
You
marking.
can turn the lights
Objection
up.
to the commentary.
So,
He's so no. I know that they're gonna admonish the attorney, but he's so annoyed that he's being questioned. That anybody could ask him for accountability. He's like, I don't know. I gave it to whoever. Who are they? I don't know. Huh? Why are you asking me questions? Don't you know who I am?
Jackson, no comments, okay? Just
Understood.
questions.
I apologize.
How about you
Um,
no comments, Judge? How about you no comments?
Ignore my last comment. You had items of evidence that you've already described as being incredibly important, correct?
Those are your words. I actually changed. I said every piece of evidence is important.
Okay. Since
Like,
this is part of every
thank you
piece of
guys,
evidence,
thank you guys,
think
thank you
this
so
evidence
much.
is important.
Every piece of evidence is important.
So was this evidence important? Yes or no?
Yes.
So you had the evidence
Who wrote on the
and turned
back?
it over to someone whom you don't know and can't identify. Is that what we understand?
It was a member of the Massachusetts State Police assigned to our office. It wasn't just a
Who?
random person. I can't specifically identify who it was or who wrote on that bag. I know it was a trusted member of our unit
Who?
and part of the investigative team.
How do you know it was a trusted member of your unit and a part of the investigative team if you can't tell these jurors who it was? How do you know that?
Because I wouldn't have turned it over to a random stranger.
Okay. So
Again,
let's
don't you know
figure out
who I
the-
am?
The possibilities.
And he smirks. He thinks it's
Who are among
absurd
those
that he's being
to whom you
held
would turn this stuff
accountable.
over? Who are among them?
There was 4 troopers in the detective unit at that point assigned to homicide.
Let's name them. Who are they?
It was Trooper DeChico, Trooper Kakowski,
Kukowski.
Trooper Dunn, and Trooper Mike Proctor.
As you sit here today, do you believe? or do you
Yeah, he
recall
should get
turning it over
fired.
to Trooper
He should
Dunn?
get fired, this guy.
Objection.
He should get
You're
fired.
gonna go through each person?
Everyone.
Judge, how about you hold your commentary? Judge, how about you don't make Alan Jackson seem like he's doing something wrong? Kind of like when you said to him, "Are you going to read all the text messages?" You're not going to read all the text messages, right, Alan? Are you going to go through all 4 detectives? How about you hold the commentary, Judge?
There's only 4.
I'll allow this question.
Do you
Well,
remember turning it
thank
over
you,
to Trooper Dunn?
Mrs.
No,
You remember turning it over to Trooper Pikowski?
How
no,
dare you
remember
ask
turning it over
questions?
to Trooper DeChico?
no,
You remember turning it over to
Oh,
Mike?
Bev.
no.
So it might have been just a random stranger,
I love that.
right?
His face.
That's a ridiculous suggestion.
You're ridiculous. You look
Have
like
you
a
ever seen Trooper
sociopath.
Proctor's handwriting before?
Yes,
Matter of fact, you've seen it, I'm guessing, not dozens, maybe hundreds of times, correct?
not hundreds of times, no.
Dozens of times
Sure,
over the years.
sure.
On evidence bags, on logs, on notes, things of that nature.
Some evidence bags, some notes.
Oh, we have them, Calical. We have Bev videos. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show for his demeanor on the evidence, handling the evidence, writing on the logs. He doesn't care. Now we're going to have his commentary on the text messages. No, we're not going to. You're not going to read all the text messages, right? No, we're not going to do that because we are almost out of time. But I want to show you guys
Talking about banging
this.
and hooking up.
What word would you use to describe them
Banging.
if not flirtatious?
The totality of the conversation?
Sure. Let's start there.
My opinion is that it's a angry girlfriend trying to set up a hookup to her John.
To her jump,
To her John.
to her John.
Yeah.
Would you consider the
Welcome,
responses from
Zatterbot.
Brian
Good to
Higgins to
see
be
you.
flirtatious in nature?
Please hit that like.
There are conversation parts that are enticing, maybe a little of advances, but the totality of, to put a label on the whole thing, my opinion is that she's trying to get revenge.
Get revenge
Yes, get revenge.
on John
Yeah.
for what happened on New Year's Eve.
Yes.
Okay. When you say revenge, you don't mean physical revenge.
Well, emotional revenge. She's trying to hook up with Higgins and then hurt John by cheating on him.
And in fact, you did note that
The
John,
breathing is so
he was
loud.
not privy to these text messages. Right?
Objection.
I'll allow that. Do you know that?
I do not, Your Honor, no.
He's not on these texts, is he?
I don't know if their accounts are synced at this point. I don't know if he's seen them. I don't know.
He's not, his phone, you know what his phone number is. You guys got his phone, right?
We do have his device, yes.
Do you have any evidence that his account was somehow, I don't even know if that means synced with Karenread's account?
Not from his device, no, but he could have seen the text message.
Okay, so there's no evidence that he was synced. His account was synced with anything, correct?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
There's no evidence-
You were facing the other way. I didn't hear.
There's no evidence that his account was synced with anything.
Objection.
Not his
Yuri's not a girlfriend
device that
expert.
we have, no.
And you don't have, as you sit here, you don't have any evidence whatsoever that he saw any of those text messages, correct?
We don't have that, but I do not know.
Okay.
Okay, okay, Mr. Buchanick. Thank you very much for your time and your service with the Marines. Thank you, sir. But you should not be fired because you're very incompetent, arrogant, and extremely unlikable, and you don't like to be held accountable for anything. And no job should accept somebody with your level of lack of professionalism, integrity, and ethics. Yes, those words that you said you used for your investigation. You should be fired, sir. That is my opinion. Okay. So now I want to go back real quick before we close for today. And a horrible detective, right, Kurt? He doesn't know anything related to his own case. Yeah, I do not know. I do not know. I gave it to some guy. Of course, it was a respectable guy, because if he wasn't, I wouldn't have done it. And that is all you need to know. Nobody else needs to have any documentation, because what I say is gospel. I want you guys to see a little bit of Corinne. I love you so much. I love you so much. I've got lightning and my baby dog gets very scared, so we need to comfort him. Good to see many of you in the chat. See you all again soon. Corinne is the best. Thank you. We love you. Happy Mother's Day. Enjoy your babies. And we're almost done anyways. I just want to show you guys this video that we did last year on Brian Higgins. I want to show you like a little piece of him, because please bring Brian Higgins back. If you go on YouTube, on my channel, Karenread playlist, you will see that. Or if you just search Brian Higgins, BiancaMMM, you will see this video here last year. Let me see. Just the beginning.
The other information would still be on your phone,
looks like
ending in
a stupid
5421,
idiot.
correct?
Well, that information stayed on my phone. I just took those strings off and provided them to the Mass State
Right.
Police.
So where's your phone?
I do not have that phone anymore.
You've destroyed that phone, haven't you?
No, I threw the phone away.
Well, that's destroying the phone, isn't it?
I had every right to do that.
I didn't ask you about your rights. I asked you what you did.
Objection.
Sustained.
You destroyed the phone by removing the SIM card,
That's the judge.
correct?
Objection.
The attorney Lolly's like, oh. So anyways, guys, that was a lot of fun last year when we did Brian Higgins video. I'm going to say goodnight to Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. If you're not a mother, if you have a pet, Happy Mother's Day to all the people that are caretakers, that care for another person or animal. For all your moms, even if they are in heaven like mine, have a blessed day. I'm so grateful that you guys are here. Thank you for your support. Anything you do helps the channel a lot, and it keeps me motivated to create more content. We do have a great playlist on the last year trial Karenread playlist in the channel. We have body languages on everybody. Colin, Brian Albert, the McCabes, Jennifer McCabe. We have lots of body language videos. Brian Higgins is one of them. Proctor, everybody's there. This year's playlist is called Karenread Retrial. So everything that we have done so far is there. Thank you so much for everything. Please leave a comment below if you guys have any questions, if you like something specifically. And don't forget to hit that like button and to subscribe. I love you all. Thank you so much for your support in the chat today. And have a great evening. I will be watching tomorrow for TrooperB being on the stand, and we're going to create another amazing video. I'll let you guys know soon. Please hit the bell to be notified and follow me on Twitter X, because I always post it there when I create the live as well. Love you guys. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Enjoy, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching, guys. BiancaMMM, your go-to place for mind meditation and motivation to elevate your life and keep you entertained. I'm passionate about exploring the human mind and psychology, and here we dive into court proceedings, body language analysis, and sprinkle in a bit of humor along the way. You will also find content to boost your personal growth physically and mentally, featuring quick meditation techniques and uplifting messages to kickstart your day. Your support means the world to me. Until next time, take care and stay positive.